Welcome to Sports Talk.
Hello everyone, this is Nick from Top Notch Sports, and today we're going to go over the 2023 New Orleans Saints salary review and off-season moves for 2023. Dennis Allen, the Saints, what are you going to do? Salary cap's not the greatest, and that's what this whole video is about, is their salary review, and we're going to make, do a mock off-season, mock free agency, mock draft. Everything we got. You guys don't have a ton of draft picks. Your first rounders in Philadelphia's hands. You don't have a lot of salary cap, but we still got some stuff in this video. Very little, though, for you fans. So I'm going to give you the warning now. But New Orleans Saints fans, if you're new to this channel, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and welcome to this channel. We're going to show you what we got here and what we do for all 32 teams. If you're not new to this channel, welcome back. Hope you enjoy it. But again, this year, just the Saints team, man, you guys have great accountants because there are ways to work around the salary cap even when you're in the negatives. That's exactly what you guys do every year. You're in the negatives. You're not supposed to be able to make moves, but somehow, some way, you guys always end up making moves. You guys were 7-10 last year with Dennis Allen as your head coach. Defensive-minded guy. I was a Raiders. I am a Raiders fan. But Dennis Allen was a coach. I remember him being there. Had 3 seasons with us, never really panned out, but did not look bad this year, went 7-10. And again, it was not bad. But let's hop into this and let's look at the first slide. Here we are here, the New Orleans Saints. In the top left corner of the screen up here, you see they have negative $57.8 million in cap. The guys in green are guys that you cut, you save money. Guys in red, you cut, you lose money. These are your respective starters that are currently under contract. These are the guys that are currently under contract. Anybody that's not here right now would be not under contract. That means they're upcoming free agents and they need either a contract extension or you're going to let them walk in free agency. With that being stated, you look at this team, it's really not that bad, but you really can't get out of your negative cap space. You're at negative 57.8. For the love of goodness gracious, if you cut Jameis Winston, Eric McCoy, James Hurst, Michael Thomas, Carl Granderson, Cam Jordan, everybody here on green, you would still be in the negatives. Therefore, there's no reason to cut nobody. You might cut somebody in real life, but again, I just don't think there's a reason to cut somebody because you're not getting out of the negative cap space you're in. With that being stated, you're definitely not going to cut somebody in the red. Now, again, you look at this lineup, not bad. Let me know who you might cut, who you're willing to cut. And again, the next slide that we're going to go to is the notable losses. Here are our notable losses, okay? We got the Saints, man. And you see there's a lot of players here that right now are not under contract and we're in the negatives. So unless we work some magic, which I don't know how to do, we're not going to be able to bring back most of these players, if any, unless you use a franchise tag, which probably none of these guys are really worth. Let's start with David Onyemata, defensive tackle. Expected contract, a 3-year, $29 million deal, and percent of snaps played was 59% of the snaps when he was actively on the roster for game day. Remember, these percent of snaps played are for players that were actively on the roster during game day. Andy Dalton, quarterback, 2-year, $13.6 million, 86% of the snaps played. Shy Tuttle, defensive tackle, 2-year, $12.7 million, 50% of the snaps played. Caden Elis, linebacker, 2-year, $10.3 million, 55% of the snaps played. Marcus Davenport, defensive end, 4-year, $93 million, 55% of the snaps played. Bradley Roby, cornerback, Teno Patansanon, not only how you pronounce that, defensive end, and Deontay Hardy, wide receiver, with all 74, 39, and 9% of the snaps played. Now, typically a rule of thumb is guys that play a high percentage of snaps and play at a decently high level are the guys that are usually brought back. But again, with this situation, we're not going to be able to make many moves. Here we are. Here are potential targets. Now, again, it's a red $57.8 million in estimated cap space, negative. So estimated cuts. We're not going to cut 10,000 guys to still be in the negative, so we're not going to cut nobody. Nor are we going to be able to have the money to sign nobody, okay? That's just common sense. So now we got to look at our team needs and see what we can do. Quarterback, running back, offensive guard, offensive tackle, defensive tackle, linebacker, cornerback. Do we rock and roll with Jameis Winston? Maybe, but I just feel like in the second round, you might want to take a chance on the guy, quarterback Hendon Hooker. Look, this guy, big arm, mobile, can do a little bit of everything. Might as well take a chance in the second round. I mean, you're not going to get Andy Dalton back. Now, maybe you do, with an amazing accountant and doing all those things, and maybe you get some other guys back. But the odds are, if you play it like hard cap, like the way the NFL is supposed to be played, without doing all these weird signing bonuses and doing things with guarantees and and hiding things and dead years, doing it realistically, you guys cannot bring anybody back. With that being stated, might as well draft Hendon Hooker, or maybe you say, we rock and roll with Jameis, and instead of wasting a draft pick on Hendon Hooker, who may or may not pan out, maybe we draft another position. Maybe, but maybe just I just feel like if Hendon Hooker falls to you guys in the second round, maybe you take a shot on him. Then you got Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Adam Troutman. Those are pretty good receivers. And then plus you got Alvin Kamara. Okay, and your offensive line is really not that bad. And in the third round, we have you taking defense tackle Will McDonald. Literally right now, you guys do not have a defense tackle under contract. You got to build that depth there. You still need to bring in maybe a backup running back, a backup offensive guard, or even starting maybe offensive tackle. Drafted offensive tackle, linebacker, and cornerback. Hopefully, you guys can add more draft capital. You guys do got a 4th, 5th, blah 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 round picks. I'm not 100% sure, but I only go up to round 3 in this model. Here's the last slide. Here is our expected starters with what we just did. So you look at the team, the guys in yellow are guys that are considered placeholders. Zach Bonner, remember him coming out of college, was not a fan of him. But you look, besides him, he's the only weak point. When you fill in Will McDonald and you fill in Hendon Hooker, you got a pretty decent offensive line here in front of them. You got a good running back, pretty dang good wide receivers, a good tight end, Lattimore, Adebo, young Adebo with a really good player in Lattimore, Tyrann Mathieu and Marcus May, 2 great safeties. Pete Warner has really become one of his own, and Demario Davis. Carl Granderson, according to PFF, did not play that bad this year. So again, that's why he's not in yellow. And Peyton Turner and Cam Jordan all around. Not a bad team. Can Dennis Allen get it done? Look, this division's not really the greatest. I mean, you had 3 teams finish 7-10, and the team that made the playoffs, Tampa Tom, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that went 8-9 made the playoffs. They're probably losing Brady next year. The New Orleans Saints can be in contention. Okay? And when you look at a team like this, you're losing a few pieces. You are losing all these guys according to this model. Davenport, Elis, who he supposedly played pretty well this year. Shai Tuttle, Onyemata. Okay? And you're losing all these guys. But you still look at the roster and you're like, well, maybe if we draft a linebacker and maybe we add a few depth pieces, this team, if Hendon Hooker pans out to be all right, if we decide to choose him as our guy, or even if we rock and roll with Jameis this year, do we have a shot at possibly winning the division? And I believe you absolutely do, depending on what the other teams do. If the Buccaneers lose Brady and they don't bring in somebody like Derek Carr, or they don't bring in somebody else like a veteran quarterback that can get it done, they're going to go down the hill. I feel like, here's my prediction for the New Orleans Saints. If you make these moves, which isn't a lot, but I think it's enough to keep you afloat, I feel like you guys can improve your record in year 2 under Dennis Allen to, it's not going to be a huge improvement. I'm going to say you guys are still right around 7 wins, but I think you guys can possibly go anywhere up from 7 wins to 9 wins. I feel like you guys aren't going to lose more games. I feel like you can go from anywhere from 7 to 9 wins. I'm going to sit you in, guys, at 8-9, fighting to try to win the division in the NFC South. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Again, I'm not a Saints expert. I don't claim to be a Saints expert, but being somebody who studies football and knows a lot of these guys on this team and know Pete Warner, know Marcus May, and know Tyrann Mathieu, know Marshall Lattimore, and scouted Paulson Adebo just a year or 2 ago, and I've been doing this for a while, and I love Chris Olave. He was my second favorite receiver out of last year's draft class. I like the position that this team's in. As soon as Dennis, and here's my issue with you guys, and I want to let you know, I want to know what you guys think, because I'm not a Saints fan, but I wasn't a huge fan of Dennis Allen when he coached the Raiders. But if this team doesn't make the playoffs, or whatever it is, even the next 2 years, do you get rid of Dennis Allen next year? If you guys don't make the playoffs, you win 8 games next year, do you fire Dennis Allen? The reason why I'm wondering is this. He got put into a very shitty situation when Sean Payton left. Number one, you didn't have a quarterback, really. You had Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston right now on the roster. And on top of that, you have negative cap space. And this guy has not had his offseason with a positive cap space on the New Orleans Saints. So, again, going into this offseason with negative cap space, do you give this guy another year or two? Because, again, going 7-10 having their defense absolutely shut down teams with like the Raiders and the Eagles, really, even I know they didn't have Jalen Hurts, but shutting them down and having a really good defense like they did gives me hope that Dennis Allen knows what he's doing. So I want to know what you guys think. Does Dennis Allen get a fair shot at, even if you don't make the playoffs next season, does he get a fair shot to come back in 2024 and maybe 2025 and having a year with positive cap space and building this team in his image? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. Again, we put in many hours into these videos. It's unfortunate you guys can't make a lot of moves in the situation you're in, but again, we try our best to do what we can. See you guys next time. Peace. We are built better.